I've been avoiding this game for a while, and in fact I've been avoiding the entire series in general because of the rabid fan base it has. Because no matter what you say, you're wrong in the eyes of the fans. Praise or criticism, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. This is Sonic the Hedgehog 4.
Starting with episode 1, which is good, had horrible game-breaking physics and terrible momentum. Sonic should not stop dead when you let go of the directional pad, and this was something that could have been fixed in an update or a patch, and it never was. While all your mainstream game critics praised Sonic 4 Episode 1, they were all unanimous in citing the bad physics and lack of momentum. In fact, Sega knew and acknowledged this, and still did nothing. Because when Episode 2 was coming out, they advertised new and improved physics.
Is it really that hard to inject a code that would fix the physics? I mean, every time I upload Terra, there's always a patch for it. And that's Mamorperger, something more complicated than a platform game.
The enemy AI seems pretty cheap, too, often attacking just before they're on screen, almost guaranteeing that you'll run into them and take damage. You pretty much need to see into the future to know when to avoid an oncoming enemy. The special stages have a time limit, which is something you mostly saw in portable Sonic games. You have to manually rotate the stage as Sonic falls through it, and you're not really in control, and hitting jump doesn't actually do anything other than shake the screen. And Sonic seems to get stuck on the walls of the stages, which greatly slows you down. You're also on a strict time limit that varies from stage to stage, and some stages require that you do everything perfect with no error. In addition, to continue through the stage, you need to collect a certain amount of rings to get through the ring gate.
Episode 1 also has some basic puzzle elements to it, which to me breaks the flow of the speedy gameplay.
I specifically mean Lost Labyrinth Zone, and even more specifically, Act 2, when you're in the dark. Everyone hated Labyrinth Zone from Sonic 1. Why they brought it back? Who knows? But the other stages are fun and fast, although I was never a fan of Casino Night Zone from Sonic 2, so Casino Street is a level that I just don't really care for. But that's just my preference. And the stages just seem way too gimmicky. The first act is normal, but then acts 2 and 3 are just gimmicks. I know it sounds like I made a lot of complaints, but I just feel that they could have made a lot better decisions during development.
Episode 1 gets a rating of decent. Unfortunately, the physics are just a deal breaker for me. But hold on a second, wait. What's that sound? Is that the sound of a Sonic fan thumbs downing this video and writing nasty comments just because they couldn't contain their rage for a couple more minutes? Really? You couldn't wait until the end of the video? Well, you know what? We're gonna sit here and we're gonna wait for you. Yeah, you, I'm talking to you, to finish your comment before we continue the review. God damn. Really? That's what you're gonna write? Honestly? That's what you're holding all of us up here for? Way to go, you moron. Let's just see what Episode 2 has to offer.
While Episode 1 borrows from Sonic 1 and 2, Episode 2 borrows from Sonic 2 and 3. Tails tags along with you, and he's an important part of gameplay this time, not just something to annoy you. If you're in the air and hit the action button, Sonic and Tails will grab each other and fly for a short time. If you're underwater, the same thing happens, but the time is unlimited. And if you hit the button while on the ground, you'll perform a double team spin attack. The first stage is like Aquatic Ruins from Sonic 2, the second is a combination of Ice Cap and Carnival Night from Sonic 3, the third is a combination of Oil Ocean from Sonic 2 and Sandopolis from Sonic 3, and the last stage is a combination of Sky Chase and Egg Fortress from Sonic 2.
The special stages are a godsend when you compare them to Episode 1. In fact, they are a lot more balanced.
In Episode 2, the special stages are like Sonic 2's special stages. You run along a half-pipe collecting rings. And unlike Sonic 2, Tails won't run into mines causing you to lose rings and will jump when you jump, not after. I think the ring requirement is a little too high, but that's just more of a nitpick.
I think the Eggman boss fights are way over the top and the Metal Sonic boss fights just don't give you enough, but that's just more of a nitpick than a criticism.
The first Eggman boss looks like it could be a final boss. It's huge. The second Eggman boss is even bigger, and this is the more annoying boss in the game, only because he jumps around at the end and you have to hit him at the right time. The other two boss fights are with Metal Sonic, and they're both the same. Chase after him as he throws stuff at you. but the music during the Metal Sonic fights is awesome.
As a bonus, if you have Episode 1, you get to unlock Episode Metal. That allows you to play Metal Sonic through Episode 1 stages, which I guess is Sega's way of saying, sorry this took 2 years to release.
Episode Metal is essentially a prequel to Episode 2. Eggman revives Metal Sonic and he goes through one act of each of the previous 4 levels from Episode 1. It's nothing impressive. It shows that Metal Sonic gets some purple magic thing while looking for Sonic, but his gameplay is identical to Sonic's. It also just vaguely explains his involvement in Episode 2. One of the other nitpicks that I have is that this game seems to heavily rely on the combo move mechanic, be it flying, swimming, or spin dashing, to a point where it somewhat interferes with the natural flow of the game.
Now, Episode 2 gets a rating of good. The issues that were in Episode 1 aren't present, and the game has a more natural feel to it, and it's a lot more balanced of a game.
But what about the game as a whole? Before I answer that question, I'd like to mention that your mainstream game critics praised Episode 1, citing the physics as the only problem. However, they were much more critical of Episode 2. Some critics even said that the level design for Episode 2 was just copy and pasted from the Genesis games. Were they under a rock for Episode 1 because that did the same thing? For the most part, the gameplay is consistently fun with very few hitches like unneeded puzzles or unneeded combo moves. The level design is very uninspired, and instead of being original, it's a copy and paste job from the classic games. But the levels are fun. Episode Metal is a nice bonus, but it really shouldn't have taken 2 years between episodes, as the purpose of episodic gaming is to have short games at a low price and released in a timely manner, not 2 years between games. And this goes for you too, Valve. Where's Episode 3 of Half-Life?
As a whole, I'm going to give Sonic 4 a good rating. It's really fun from start to finish, and it's a great throwback to the classic Genesis days.